If you like art, or are an artist, historian, or just a curious person, then chances are you've probably heard of Jackson Pollock. He was an influential American painter and the leading force behind the abstract expressionist movement in the art world. Some say he developed one of the most radical abstract styles in the history of modern art, detaching line from color, redefining the categories of drawing and painting, and finding new means to describe pictorial space. Tonight, I'm going to read The Essential Jackson Pollock by Justin Spring. In addition to reading through Justin's book, I will be displaying each of his paintings we discuss here tonight, and maybe a few drawings of Jackson that I do myself. I won't read everything, but I promise I won't skip any of the good details of this book. Because this channel is new, the video is limited to 15 minutes. And as a result, this will just be part 1. So, if you enjoy the video, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. And I'll keep making videos like this for the curious and sleepy people of the world. Let's begin. So what's so great about Jackson Pollock? Well, if you can understand Jackson Pollock, and it isn't hard, then you can understand abstract expressionism, and, by extension, everything that's developed out of that art movement, which is to say, a whole lot of what's happened in American art in the past 50 years. Jackson Pollock was born in 1912 and lived through 1956, and is probably the most famous American artist of the 20th century. The nouns describing Pollock through the years have included fighter, hero, cowboy, and rebel. Adjectives: dry, violent, savage, romantic, undisciplined, and explosive. Pretty amazing language for a guy who did nothing but paint. Pollock himself asserted that his work was all-consuming, a kind of spiritual quest or near impossible psychic challenge, requiring superhuman strength. To stand before a blank canvas and somehow create meaning and order out of what was, for Pollock, a manifestation of the existential crisis of modern humanity. In his own mind, Pollock was an existential superhero, a man who approached the canvas with a macho swagger, and he made sure people knew about it. Pollock's belief in the importance of the artist as a larger-than-life cultural icon eventually defined the attitude of an entire generation of artists living in post-World War II New York has continued to influence the American art scene up until present day. Pollock would return to images of his mother throughout his life, perhaps most notably in the painting named appropriately The She-Wolf in 1943. Elizabeth Feinberg Pollock, Jackson Pollock's sister-in-law, later recalled that Stella saw all her sons as potential geniuses and wanted them to be artists, but Jackson was the one she adored. The She-Wolf, 1943, came into existence because I had to paint it. Any attempt on my part to say something about it, to attempt any explanation of the inexplainable, could only destroy it. A family on the move. When Pollock was 10 months old, his family moved to San Diego, California, and a year later to Phoenix, Arizona, where his father bought a truck farm. The venture would go bust within 4 years, and the Pollocks would shift among various towns in California, always staying briefly and pushing on for success elsewhere. Within his first 10 years of life, Pollock would inhabit 6 homes in 3 states as his father moved from job to job with little advancement. Wild West days. In the summer of 1927, the teenage Pollock traveled with his father and brother Sanford to work on geologic and topographic surveys of the Grand Canyon. There, he worked alongside older men, eating and drinking with them, already showing signs of alcoholism and his freewheeling consumption of wine and beer. Though this may have been his adolescent way of trying to fit in with the guys, be a macho man, and live the life of the Wild West. Art as an emotional release. Pollock was bad at school and was a social misfit. Art, and especially drawing, was his one consolation, and he focused on it from an early age. Drawing allowed him to turn inside, to express his raging emotions on the page, and to find meaning detached from the outside world. Moody and rebellious, he was kicked out of the Manual Arts High School in Los Angeles twice during the school year of 1928, and lived the freewheeling life of a rebel and failure, like the roles of outcast heroes. And this is my favorite early painting from Pollock, titled Woman, 1930 through 1933, oil on masonite. An encounter with a mystic. Through the guidance of a sympathetic art teacher, Frederick Schwentzovitsky. I didn't say that right. The 15-year-old Pollock received the fundamentals of an art education. Incidentally, Pollock's first artistic interest was in sculpture. The same teacher introduced him to Buddhism and Theosophy, a Western movement based on Eastern principles with special focus on mystical insights into the nature of God. By age 17, though miserable and lacking self-confidence, Pollock had a vague sense of what he wanted to do with his life. While studying life drawing and clay modeling in high school, he confessed in a disarmingly vulnerable letter to his brother, "I am doubtful of any talent, so whatever I choose to be will be accomplished only by long study and work. I fear it will be forced and mechanical. Architecture interests me, but not in the sense painting and sculpting does. As to what I would like to be, it is difficult to say. An artist of some kind. If nothing else, I shall always study the arts." In 1930, at age 18, a restless Pollock moved east to become an artist in New York City. He joined his brothers Frank and Charles there, settling in Greenwich Village. I probably didn't say that right. It's like Greenwich. And enrolling at the Art Students League, also known as the ASL. Due to time constraints, I'm gonna have to stop here, but I promise to continue in part 2 of this little series on Jackson Pollock. So, thank you for watching. Please leave a comment and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. And I hope to see you in the next one.